What's good, family? Yeah, I want to talk about loneliness with regards to men and females separately. And what I was thinking about is the loneliest women in the world, as it relates to more specifically America. I'll speak on that. But the loneliest women in the world is prostitutes, in my opinion. And you would think, well, hey, a prostitute got a whole bunch of, customers. Why would she be lonely? Well, whether she's a stripper or OF model or a street walking chick or, escort or a dancer or whatever, that's all prostitution. Whether she's your average American woman who is wholly given to prostitution. She just calls it dating. What do they call it? Beta bucks. Going on a date. See, your average American woman is a prostitute. It used to be that if a woman had, in patriarchal cultures, still is, if a woman had any other man other than her husband, she was considered a whore. Right? Off with her head, she'd be stoned. It was, according to scriptures. So the standards are so low now. You know what I mean? The standards are so low in this country that prostitution is normalized. And we think that a woman, she only have 5 bodies. Oh, yeah, well, hey, that's a good woman. But it's good relative to a woman with 500 bodies, right? It's like, what do you say? You got to get the best of the worst. And American woman is the worst. So it's like, oh, well, shoot. I might as well. She had the other chick got 50 and she only got 5. Well, less damage. You're trying to all right, man. Well, pick the best of the worst. But quite honestly, men are supposed to get actual virgin women, and that's supposed to be your wife until the day she dies or you die. You understand me? Like, that's actually how it's supposed to go. And so what I'm saying is that we're so far away from what actually should be. And I understand that. Nothing you can really do to change the culture, because the culture of America is number 1, simping, and then number 2, whoredom. And you see this in the movies. You see this in the music. It's thick. So loneliness in men and loneliness in women. I think that women are lonely. This is why you have the cat ladies and the dog ladies and your stripper. She might look extremely pretty and 8, 9, and 10, real beautiful chick. But at the end of the day, remember, she's going home and she's lonely. No matter how good she looks, the OF model, no how good she looks, your average American woman out here who have a spreadsheet of different dudes, how can that not be categorized as a prostitute? Remember, a woman who, you have to classify what a prostitute is. And traditionally, a woman who ain't with her husband is a hoe. Like that's the standard, but we're so far off the standard. But remember, the standard don't change. But your perspective of it changed based on where you are or what culture you in, right? But yeah, man, it used to even be here in America. Virginity used to be something that, was regular. I know that's hard to believe. I even seen some of that in my life earlier. But these women, with that feminism stuff in the 60s, when you watch that movie Claudine, and you watch some of the older videos in the 60s where they interview black women in the 60s who were talking about, why they need to be liberated, and I don't really want no husband. I'd rather have kids right now, but I don't really want no husband. That's too much responsibility and all that. But you are married, bitch. You got a son. You got a kid by this dude. That's a greater responsibility than a piece of paper. She want to be liberated from being up under the man. She want to be liberated to have her spreadsheet of penises. One dude, again, that's prostitute movement. prostitute talk is talking about how much money make, how big his wiener is, how good he look. That's not woman of the house talk. That's woman of the streets talk. You understand me? How much money you got for this date? How much money you got for this date? How much money are you going to spend on this date? What's the difference between a woman talking about you need to spend X amount of dollars on this dinner date versus the street walking prostitute who negotiating price with a trick or a John or a simp who pull up on her and say, how much for a date? And she negotiating price on that date. One date, he gonna, hey, it's pay for play. The other date, which is the, street walking chick. The other date is the foodie prostitute. You got to spend at least $150 on a date. He's talking about dates. You talking about money exchanges for your time. And some of these dudes, they don't even literally have sex with the chick. It might just be to sit and talk to her for 30 minutes. People actually pay, simps and tricks pay for this. So it ain't always just sex, it's the female companionship or the illusion of it, you know what I mean? She don't really even like you. That what they say is you either her romantic type or you the beta books type. You know what I mean? It's kind of like two type of dudes. She like the dude for the money, and she like the dude that she actually like. Primarily, you either got that bread to break off and simp on her, or either her actual type that she'll be simping on you. It ain't really many other type of dudes. You got a neutral dude who kind of just he doing his own thing, but how she categorizes it, either a beta bucks dude that's gonna break bread that she really don't like, or either a dude she actually is romantically inclined to. Point is this. So the loneliest women in the world primarily is a prostitute. Because at the end of the day, beautiful stripper, or a street walking chick, or your average American woman with a high body count going on foodie dates where her simps and johns and tricks are paying X amount of dollars for a food date. These are all prostitutes and with high body counts. And they all move the same. They all talk about the same thing. They all dress the same. They all got tattoos the same. They got high body counts the same. They got baby deletions the same. And they all the same. It's just that one knows what she's doing and maybe she's more mentally stable in that way. And then the other one, which is probably the majority of American women are delusional, don't realize they prostitutes. You know what I mean? And the other thing is that some prostitutes glory in what they do, and other ones, they like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know I hate what I'm doing, but I got to make this money, blah, blah, blah. And she depressed about what she's doing because no matter how they defend it, they know that the deep feeling of depression comes because they know that she ain't supposed to be doing this. Well, I was watching this one podcast with this one prostitute talking to like a table of hoes, and she was like, it was I think it was a Fresh and Fit podcast, and you had the one woman. She said, "I know I'm a hoe. I know I'm a prostitute," and then she was talking to the other prostitute who said, "I don't have sex on OnlyFans. I just cook on OnlyFans. I just wear a bikini on OnlyFans or something like that." And so the other prostitute who knew she was one was telling the other one, like, "Look, you a hoe. You just don't know you a hoe. Nobody's watching you cook. Nobody care about your opinion except that you in a bikini. You selling sex. You know better than me." And that's what the woman said. So I like these type of podcasts because you see, like, you got one woman who knows what she's doing, but she's still trying to justify it. But at the end of the day, she's more knowledgeable about what she's doing. Therefore, she's depressed. Then you got the other one. Well, both of them are depressed. Then you got the other one who's delusional and think that she's just a regular chick. But because the standard is so low in America, and the was mass produced here in America is simping and whoredom. She thinks that because it's just culturally natural for her to be dressed scantily and she thinks that that's normal. But it's still you selling sex, man. And so the other prostitute the one who knew she was a prostitute told the other one, hey, you just a hoe, you just don't know, basically. And so that's what I'm saying. Both of these chicks be depressed when the lights are off. You know what I mean? When ain't no friends. See, that's what I'm talking about, loneliness. Now, the female loneliness thing is more drawn out. But the man primarily, when I think of male loneliness, I'm like, experiencing it as a man, I had to, I guess, empathize, or was it simple? Empathize, I had to understand the other person's point of view. So I understand why women, I understand women. And of course, I understand us as men. The man perspective, a lot of men are lonely because nobody care about us. You got to walk this walk primarily. Most men don't have like a big friend group. You're supposed to have bros before hoes, man, but a dude, we're talking about in America, a guy, man, he'll cut your throat, man, for one of these hoes. He try to get with your wife and your girlfriend and take what you got. I don't see brotherly love out here. And I think that a lot of that is because of the simping, man. Men are more competitive because women in America are more whorish. So that goes back to like the feminist movement. And I guess I can go into social media too, but social media made women more whorish and expand their circle. And also, number two, expanded their belief of how valuable that they believe that they are. And so they want to choose they might, so in other words, a chick, let's say, for example, she might, like growing up, we didn't have cell phones, man. We had like house phones, and the cell phone came later. And they said about 2010 or whatever, that's when social media blew up, Instagram and stuff. And they can kind of correlate divorces along that line. I've seen the calculations and the charts. They say when social media increased, so did the increase in like breakups and divorces and stuff like that. So basically, social media essentially watered the seed of feminism, poisoned feminism that was already started in the 60s. You already had this whole thing of males versus females. I guess I'll get into that in another video, but it does explain some things. But women are more narcissistic, solipsistic, concerned about themselves, and always shooting for the next shinier object. And therefore, shooting for the top 20% of dudes. And that leaves, whereas a regular dude could get a regular chick, me growing up, now these regular chicks, because of the simping, they have expanded, and because of social media. See, social media make women more proud and stuff and believe that they can always do better, but also it expands their circle. And so now they only want the top dudes. And so the regular dudes don't even get a regular chick, because a regular chick is getting flown out by some, dude with money or something like that. She has expanded her options. Man, it's like this social media is a beast, man. So now her expectations are super higher, and she's like a 4, but she look at a dude that's a 5 or a 6, is that he low level, because she done got flown out to Dubai in luxury apartments. You see what I mean? And turn tricks with high end clients. You know what I mean? And she look at that as, this is my man. I dated this dude, and this is some super average broad that around the way. So her pride and her ego is completely blown out of the water. And so, when you're talking about loneliness and depression and stuff, in a woman, it's like she don't really feel that And this is why I don't really I have empathy because to understand it, yes. But to have sympathy for it, nah. Because the woman's loneliness comes from a perspective of the paradox of choice. Like, in other words, okay, can you feel sorry for somebody that won the lottery last year and this year they living on the streets? They won $1 million last year and this year they blew it on, whatever. And now they broke. Number two, can you feel sorry for somebody who was a trust fund baby and was born into money and then now they broke and depressed? So literally, that's how the woman is in America. She's like born, and so her depression and loneliness and all that, women compare, it's lonely out here. Like, for example, you see, let me give you the whole example. A woman in her 18 to say 30, all in 12 years, that's her height of her beauty, height of her value. The older she get, the less value she get. So she born with essentially a silver spoon in her mouth, a golden spoon, right? And it's like you just won a lottery. You have $1 million. What are you going to do with that $1 million? And most women going to blow it by just being a whole, building up their body count and creating a spreadsheet of random dudes. This dude is for sex because, this reason you look good, big wiener or muscles or whatever. She get whatever sparkly, shiny object she like about this dude. The spark, the tingles, the, what do you call it? What do these women call it? The sparkle, I don't know. She liked this dude. Then the other dude she got categories of dude. This dude pay the bills. This dude's for the thrills. Don't like that. So this dude got money, but she don't really like him, but he got a lot of money, and she go do some few things over here, something strange for a piece of change. But she really don't like him, so she do what she got to do to make this paper. Make rent, see what I mean? So she got categories, man. Spreadsheets, and every day this woman got 5, 10, a decent looking chick got, I don't know, 10, 20 dudes hitting her up every day in regular life and online combined. Like, that's a lot of choice, bro. So she come from the perspective of having a whole bunch of choice. And so she wastes her whole value from her teens, 20s, and now she's 30, and she, her nature is telling her, yo, you need to get a baby. You need to get a baby. Now her other, what they call it, the dual mating strategy, right? So now she's looking like, all right, I need to land a man after all this prostitution for 18 years old to 30 years old. Now she's like, all right, I need to settle down. So now she get depressed. Now she's, cat lady, and now her loneliness and depression sets in. And so it's like, how can I understand it, but I don't feel sympathy for a woman who now she's all super depressed after wasting all her good years, running the streets, destroying men's lives, murdering babies. Yes, Sammy, and now she depressed. It's kind of like her loneliness and stuff seem to come later. After she realized, dang, I done wasted all my money. I done wasted all my life. You see what I mean? And now I'm 30 years old, 35. I'm like, oh, shoot. The men, because don't be deceived. She ain't really going to stop the hoeing until the game really kicks her out, until the simps and the tricks stop paying for her or reduce payment. Like a good-looking chick, I was watching this video. This chick was like she was like an actress or something, pretty chick. And then she was living like in the sewer or something like that. Was that her? It was another chick too, I believe. But she was like, don't even look like she used to look. Just looked like some drug addict chick living like in the and when I say the sewer, it was like some sewer. Well, it was a sewer, but it was like one of them Ninja Turtle sewers, like big area to live in, like not funky. Well, it probably was funky, but it was an open area, like a big circular open area with a big roof, and there was other people living down in there too, other homeless people and stuff. So But yeah, it was a sewer. But I don't know if you would call it a sewer, but nevertheless, yeah, it was under the city, like a underpass type of thing. But anyway, she was living up under there, and she was like, it was the other chick too, but she was pretty when she was younger. And so now, but the kicker was that it's like she was proud. Like, I'm not gonna be under the, was it her? She was talking about she ain't gonna be under the authority of no man or something like that. I'm like, damn, even if you broke and you busted and you still refuse to be under the authority of a man, bro. And even when I seen like 3 days ago in real life, some chick holding a sign on the street, basically like homeless, and she looking all rough and raggedy. And I'm like, though I have empathy for her, I understand maybe she, this and that, but I don't have sympathy for her. Why? Because you live in America. You ain't no Palestinian woman or no woman in Ukraine in like a war-torn country. Your ass is here in America with all these sex-deprived simps and tricks who will, no matter how fat and ugly you are, and this chick that was on the street begging, she was about an average white chick, skinny, from what I could see the distance. And I'm like, how you even begging? And other chick I seen, now I have seen like a husband, like a dude and his chick begging. So they trying to hustle, but this chick, well, maybe my thing is, like, it's hard for me to feel sympathy for a woman who having it hard in this society when there's so many tricks and simps who will wife them up. But they be, antidepressants and depressed and lonely. Her loneliness is forced, self-inflicted forced. It's like you shooting yourself in the foot and being like, walking around, oh, my foot hurting. Like, you shot yourself in the foot. These women have self-inflicted gunshot wounds. You didn't want to listen to your father. You didn't want to listen to what your dad wanted to keep you in a house and, give you to a man, a decent man, and y'all stay together forever. But in this society, a lot of women don't want to listen to the guidance of a man. And quite honestly, a lot of the women are rebellious. However, you do have a society where, real talk, a lot of these women don't even know who the fathers of these babies are. So the father ain't even around. So that goes back to feminism in the 60s. So when you talk about female loneliness, in my opinion, that comes primarily later on in life when she's 30 plus. And now she realizing that the girls of her female friends are getting married and now she's lonely. Or she, for whatever variety of reasons, she pursues a career or she pursues the streets. And then some of her female friends are getting married, like I said, and they are not available to her no more. In the circle of her female friends, like the wall hits her. The reality finally hits her. Like a dude gambling at a casino, he's up, 50,000, and he's like, oh, I got $500 more. He went from 50,000 to 500, but I can make it big. I can make it big. I can make it big. And when he finally hit, like, dang, I'm broke. And you hit the wall. That's when her depression sets in, more so, I would think. However, being a prostitute in general, you never really see female loneliness and depression because she can always take, drugs to hide. That's what, like I said, the most depressed women in the world is prostitutes. Your stripper, you don't really see, because you never really see them as they really are a lot of times. When all of her simps and tricks and clients and male friends, which are simps, tricks, and clients, when all of them are gone and all of her females who co-sign her degenerate prostitute behavior, she want to delete babies, oh, go ahead, girl. She want to get gangbang, oh, go ahead, girl. You got experience. She want to get flown out to Dubai, oh, go ahead, girl. All of the sisterhood just always co-signs her. She want to leave her husband. Oh yeah, go ahead, girl. You under his, he too bossy anyways, girl. You want to leave your boyfriend? Yeah, he too. What they say? insecure girl and too controlling girl. It's always the sisterhood of degenerate bitches telling her at her head, talking about how she need to go ahead and do degenerate stuff. But the sisterhood, so what I'm saying is this. I understand this stuff. She never really has to look within. Because if she had to look within, that's where the alcohol or the smoking weed or some kind of substance to not have to look within, not have to deal with the pain of looking in the mirror. See, her, you don't really ever hardly see her loneliness. You know, like with a man, you see him. All right, he broke, or, you know, a woman left him or something. You're like, dang, he's sitting around drinking and he pissed off. Nobody cares really about our loneliness. And our, you know, a lot of times the men delete themselves, man, because of the pressure and the no support system. You know what I mean? Male loneliness is, hey, you even have males who are lonely and depressed and stuff, and they'll go on a shooting binge. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think, or what's the reason behind this loneliness? What's the reason behind this? What they say, a white dude who do these acts of local, what they say, domestic terrorism, whatever, shooting up a whole, going postal. That's what they call it. Usually it's some white dude, not being racist, but that's what it usually is. It's some dude, you know, I can't take it anymore. These mass shootings. I mean, you don't see nobody else really doing this, but it's not really a racial kind of thing. But they said the majority of, like, you know, suicides has occurred by men doing it to themselves. So, you know, a lot, but, you know, it's sad, man. And I'm here to encourage brothers not to do that, man. Life gets hard. Life gets tough, man. And you just gotta find a way to, I would say, man, you know, stick with the Most High, ask him for strength to continue. That's number one. And if he hook you up with a way to network with other brothers who have a similar mind, that would be super awesome too. And life get tough, man. You're not, a lot of times men have to just go through something to get something. You know what I mean? The experience, loneliness, and this whole dynamic. See, the whole feminism and free love and whoredom culture of America, it is depressing. You know what I mean? It is a downer. You know what I mean? And even if you're a dude smashing holes, you know what I mean? That's probably where you at. That's your top pinnacle of a man. You know, not a real top pinnacle of a man experiences when he's linked in with the Most High. However, on a physical level, that's what I'm talking about. But that's even depressing because you banging these hoes, but then they don't stick around. You know, they don't stick around. You be like, dang, we had a connection. You bang the other chick, but then she float away. Or you bang her a few times, and it's like, dang, it's just kind of empty because they're not sticking around, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you know, oh, you tall, you know, big wiener, big muscles, big money, but that don't mean they gonna stick around. And so it's like, it's kind of empty, but hey, you know, it's still better than chronically masturbating in your mom's basement or something. You know what I mean? But the point is, it's still empty, is what I'm saying. Because even a man, the worst kind of situation, bro. Oh man, I ain't never experienced that, but if you married to a female and you ain't getting no sex and no, you know, that's like you're slave and bound. You're like, dang, I got married because I wanted to have companionship and this woman be with me and we work together through everything. And that's, I would say, what would be worse? Let's see. A man that's married and doesn't get female companionship from his and sex from his wife, or a man just out here not getting female companionship from anybody. One, he's living with a scorpion, and the other one, he ain't got no woman. God dang, what would be worse? When you sit back and look at it, it's like the man who's married could be, dang, man, I would think that would be worse. Being married to a scorpion. Because you got her in her house, but she making it difficult, and then not even getting you no sex relief. So she creating the stress, and then So I think a lot of women do that on purpose too, man. Married women to get with a dude, and she believes. That's why women should never believe that she is your only access to sex, even when you marry. She should always know that she has to be on her best behavior. And I think a lot of women want to have that power over a man, especially if his nose wide open. That's why they like simps. They don't like simps, but they like the utility of a simp and having them around. See what I mean? Because they know that it's male attention. Even though it's simp male attention, it's still male attention. And it's her knowing that she can control this dude's access, that his nose is wide open, and that she can control his access to sex. That's a lot of power. And even though she despises him, she loves the power that she has over him. See what I mean? She loves the male attention. And it's no more, that's a high level of male attention that this dude keep trying to get at her. And this is her husband trying to get at her. When we have sex? When we gonna have sex? And she's like, I'm tired. I'm on my period. And she just stringing this dude along, having his nose wide open. And she know that that's a lot of power that she had. You know, that's a wicked ass game for a hoe to be playing, man. And so I would think that that dude would be more miserable. Man, how do you calculate this? Well, I guess you got to go to scripture to say a man who got a wicked wife is as though he held a scorpion. So then you got number two. Paul said that it's better to was it better to not have a wife? You know what I mean? In these times, so you got to think about it. That would tell me right there, the dude that ain't got no woman is better off than having a wicked woman in his life. My point is, male loneliness is outwardly expressive because a man has to face it. We got to deal with reality. We don't have a co-signing circle of men telling us and validating our BS and, all that stuff. A lot of men don't even have friends, bro. But so, you know what I mean? So, people make jokes about male loneliness and suicide. That's like horrible to make jokes about that. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you have to look into why these dudes are doing it. And I don't think that men should do it. However, you have to look at why. And that's the thing that people never really seem to look into. This guy lost his family. This woman, took his family, took his money. And then now he's like, he offed himself. Like, that's not funny, bro. But see, you have to look at the why behind this stuff. Dudes ain't just doing this. Dudes invest a whole lot into, like, primarily why he gonna do that is because of a woman, primarily. Some kind of way in his family, That's why I would guess the divorce. She took half his stuff. Now she got his kids around some other dude, calling him daddy, and he had to pay child support, or he had to leave the house and she gets the house and a new dude is in the house. You know how depressing that got to be, man? Oh, God. I don't even want to ever think about it. I mean, I don't ever want to be in that situation. Some other dude living in your crib, bro. And he ain't bringing nothing but smashing her. You know what I'm saying? And so she using the other dude money in order to spend that money on the next dude. That's a terrible position, man. Legal marriage in America sucks, bro. But the male-female dynamic when it comes to loneliness is quite different, I think. I think that men have to look in the mirror and look at the ugliness of the situation and accept it for what it is. And that's difficult. You know what I mean? Also, I think that when you include female access to all these different dudes and their heightened pride and belief that they can always do better, plus their ability to expand with social media, to expand their circle of dudes to worldwide. You know what I mean? That means that these women are quicker to throw in their relationships with their husbands and boyfriends and say, well, they can always upgrade. She always thinks she can do better. And so, but they always say that the women primarily, 80% of the women primarily pursue 20% of the men, or something like that. that means that the majority of men become even more desperate because they're not getting female companionship. And even if they do get a wife or a girlfriend, the men are so desperate they feel like they got to hold on to these chicks for dear life because the men fear that the women are gonna that the women are always all the men fear a lot of times that they know that the woman is going to possibly leave because she believes they know that she has other options other than him. So the men are on their best behavior and all that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's a bad cycle of events. Female liberation is really a bad thing. It destroys anything that men can build. It makes men more desperate and depressed. So then a lot of times a man go into chronically, watching porn and stuff to try to relieve himself. Because even if he got a woman, she gonna let him know that he replaceable. So it's like you don't even have nothing solid. And so my bottom line, I'm trying to keep this shorter. Bottom line is a man feels the pain of the loneliness more direct. And it's factual and it's in your face. It is what it is. My wife left me, ain't got no money. You know what I mean? You know, she cheated on me, my best friend, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, you feel it directly, you know what I mean? Whatever the situation, man. She took half my stuff, you know, she took half of my house, she took the car, she took the kids, but I still gotta pay for it. See what I mean? She get half of my 401k, right? And the next dude, he ain't had to do nothing to get her. And then your kids around the next dude. And then she turning your kids against you. Man, that's the gut wrenching punch you in the chest joint. You see what I mean? That a man had to deal with that. You gotta even and that's on the marriage type tip. But even your regular dude who ain't married, who is in the I think that because males and females supposed to be together, that's the main cause of our pleasure and the main cause of our pain. You see what I mean? It's the medication and it's the poison. The pleasure and the pain, we supposed to be together, males and females. So the problem is that because the system has set up a wedge between the males and the females, the males, the majority of men who ain't the top 20 in looks, money, and all this other kind of stuff, they not getting chicks. And even if they have a chick, they feeling desperate, got to hold on to her forever, and they being abused or mistreated by their chick. And she just holding on to him because he's beta bucks or he's just there. Because even prostitutes don't like to be alone. She rather have something than nothing. You know what I mean? But she making him miserable because she don't not respect him because he's not her first choice type of dude. Remember, primarily a woman sees a dude as a beta bucks, pay the bills type of dude, or number two, dude that she's actually physically and romantically attracted to. See what I mean? And it's like, dang. And so in this society, because of social media combined with feminism really just watered the seed. Oh, excuse me. Social media just watered the seed of this poison called feminism, this religion of feminism. See, back when I was growing up, you had sassy, big mouth chicks and stuff like that, but you also had feminine chicks over here. And it's like, when I seen, I grew up when people was communicating back and forth. You had to spit game to them and face to face, and people communicated face to face. Now it's like everybody is focused on their cell phone, and women's lives lived on social media, and a lot of women, younger women and stuff, don't really communicate face to face like that. So their heads is in the clouds, man. So how she feels loneliness is when she's away. You don't really see her in her situation of loneliness. All you see is makeup, pretty face, big titties, and you just see the external stuff. she's never really, you don't really, and a lot of times you don't really see the real woman. She don't really even like herself a lot of times. Because remember, prostitutes are very lonely because they hate what they do. They hate exchanging sex for money. And they hate, monetizing, selling themselves like this. This is your average American woman and your OF woman, your streetwalker, and the stripper. They be depressed, man. But us, we don't really see that. You just see her looking good and selling sex. But when she a lot of times don't never have to be alone. You see what I mean? Because she got it. So that's what I'm saying. The woman. So I don't really respect female loneliness. Now I have to say this: if she's a decent female, a righteous, godly woman or something, okay, yeah, some of those chicks will feel some loneliness in this place. But I don't really know where those chicks are. I know some of them out there, but because every woman ain't on this whore stuff in America. But I would say most of them are. But the path of the man is different than the path of the woman a lot of times, man. It's in this place. A lot of men don't have big social groups. Dudes be hating on each other. They covetous. You know what I mean? It ain't like I said, no bros before hoes. It's all hoes before bros. And it's really sad, man. Dudes are trying to compete for another man's woman. Take his girl. Like, dang, where the brotherhood at, bro? Where the commandments, bro? Don't covet anything that's anybody else's, man. And then the woman, even if she's a 3, the bitch believes that I'm a 10. You're not a 10, bro. They don't just say that. They actually believe they're a 10, bro. So the pride, solipsistic perspective is beyond, and so that makes men miserable because they can't deal with women on a real regular basis. She's supposed to be a helper and help the dude's life. She's a 3, he's a 5. She's supposed to help this 5. Like, you're fat and you're a 3, bro, but you're proud and you believe you're better than me. It's crazy, man. And so these women are in a really heightened state of delusion, man. And as long as they delusional, but something in them, you got that little something in them agitating them, letting them know, like, yo, this ain't right. And and that right there, but again, we hardly ever really see her true self. All we really see is this, bravado, and stuff like that. But yeah, I've known whores and stuff. Yeah, they depressed. They some high, they drinking all the time and smoking all the time. They do that, and this is your average American woman, bro. I mean, she got addictions to substances, so she don't have to be feeling the pain, bro. A lot of men, you forced to feel the pain. Yeah, you might, grab something to drink to deal with this and that, but you got to deal with the issue. What it is, man. You can't be in delusion. There's no brotherhood supporting you to be delusional, bro. Whereas on the female side, there is a supporting sisterhood of delusion. So because of that safety net, she never really had to look inside, bro. And if she do, she just cry. And then the sisterhood coddles her, and her simps come and coddle her. It's like, dude, she's completely surrounded by simps who want to give her attention, sex, money, female companionship, the sisterhood. Even when she get older, she still got some co-signing hoes. She always got somebody to co-sign her BS. So it's like, dang, man, the woman's experience is that she never really had to be physically, like not physically, but situationally forced, to look within. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. Like I said, a righteous, decent chick, she has to, and maybe that's her walk, like a woman who's actually following the Most High and actually trying to do right. And her thing might be, I try to empathize and understand. Her struggle might be she's trying to not be a whore in the abundance of opportunities to be whores. So she's trying to do the right thing. She's trying to stay clean in a swamp, basically. See what I mean? She's trying to keep her clothes clean in a swamp called America. Now, that's a clean, decent chick I'm talking about. So I can understand, okay, I can empathize and sympathize with that type of chick, that particular type of chick. Because, yeah, all right, again, that's if she's trying to be righteous. If she's trying to do the right thing. And her conscience is she trying to be a righteous chick. Okay. Because I can sympathize with a chick that's actually trying, a sister, you know what I mean? It's trying to actually do the right thing. America is not really conducive to women actually being clean women. So if she actually trying to be a clean woman, America is probably a miserable place for her to live. That specific chick. But for all the rest of these hoes, and that's probably about, I don't know what percentage that would be, about 5% of women. I don't know. How do you measure this, right? So I can sympathize for that particular chick. I can understand her loneliness, and I would sympathize with that, because if you're trying to live righteous as a sister in America, your struggle would probably be that the place is full of prostitution and whoredom and ways for it's easy for you to slip up, right? But then, even then, just go get a man and have sex with this dude, and that'll be your husband. Like, it ain't really that hard. Like, the solution is easy. Like, just go get married. Like, you know what I mean? But I still, nevertheless, her struggle, I could have more respect to her struggle. She just need guidance. But, you know, and a lot of the women are married. So, your more traditional minded women who want to be righteous, they already probably got a man, right? But still, still there's something pulling at them to be a hoe and leave her man. So she still got that struggle. But nevertheless, I have more respect for that, a righteous chick who trying to do righteous things, as opposed to a chick, because she actually showing some discretion and self-control. Whereas your majority of women, I don't respect their pain, because it's a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's the spoiled brat who is a trust fund baby who got everything they want and then blows all the money. So now you're in pain because now you're 30 and 40 years old, and where are all the good men at? Bitch, you live in America full of simps, sex deprived men, and all these years from 18 to 30, you couldn't find one good man. You are a failure. You are a loser. You chased and some chick talking about, I chased a career. So these women, this is another thing I was thinking about. See, America has a bunch of webs for females, man. The web of the streets directly, the web of becoming a baby mama of multiple dudes and getting webbed up in there, or the web of being a career chick. All kind of webs. I had this chick hit me up, she's 30, but she chunky. And what I'm thinking about is, she's still decent looking, but she got a doctorate or whatever. PhD. I don't know if she got a higher degree, master. I don't know what it is. And that doesn't mean anything to me. When I look at you, you're 30 years old. And what I'm thinking is, all right, how many dudes have you had sex with? You're 30, so that's since you were 18. Legal. Probably 14, but anyway. 18. So I'm like, dang, that's 12 years of pounding and getting ran through. Why you hit me up? You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, okay, so now you're a doc. I'm thinking, because I understand female mind. She want to date over, have a man who makes the same amount of money or above. This is the hamster wheel that these women get caught on. That's why I want to say that 7 women is going to take hold of one man saying, we got our own food, we got our own clothes, just let us be with you. See, that's good, because a lot of these hoes got a lot of, stuff that they have acquired, food, clothes, stuff that they have acquired in this society. See, but what they don't get is a man. They might have men, but they don't have a man that they respect. And so, what it say in Isaiah 3, talking about all these things being stripped away from these hoes. All the status, the easy life, basically the things in this, and it's more as it pertains to America. All the stuff I'm mentioning, the social media, the flooded DMs, all that stuff being stripped away, all her lovers, all these, just cash at me, just cash at me. You understand me? Paying for this, dudes paying, all these simps and tricks and johns. That stuff gonna be stripped away. Her easy life. So only then is she gonna bow down. She not gonna. I feed myself. I clothe myself. You ain't gotta take me out. You gotta do none of that. Just let me be with you, cuz. Let me be your woman. Let me be a woman. Let me be your wife. But it's like it take all that for you to get broke down. Now you want to be a wife? Why only now? And so you gotta look at, I look at like Isaiah 4 is like, yo, why would you want these? You gotta look at the environment that you're in, the time that you're in, and the situation that you're in. Why would you want to be dealing with, who are these women? Why are they not willing to deal with you right now? Why would you even care about these chicks? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I was watching the Purge series and stuff. Well, I watched some of it, like 2 of the full movies, but the other ones I went on like a binge of this stuff. And this is a side note. I don't want to get too sidetracked. I might do a video on that itself, but the whole thing of going around saving hoes during the purge, you know what I mean? During the collapse, going around saving bitches. Like, wow. And I seen, I'm going to do my own video on that, but it's like, come on, man. But why would you even take these broads on? You know, that's what I'm looking at. Like, what are you going to do for me? But anyways, point is this. I think my point is made. The male loneliness, he feels it straightforward. He don't have a support system of delusional dudes. Oh, don't worry about it, bro. You'll be all right. Like, that don't even sound right. Men, we try to look at, all right, what's the solution? You ain't getting broads. All right, hit the gym, change your location, do the passport bro thing, do this, do that, improve yourself, improve your money. Let me help you out, bro. Let me talk to you about this. I found this out. I found that out. You messed up right now, man. But don't do that. Don't delete yourself. You know what I mean? I've been through a divorce. We support each other. Don't worry about it, man. You can use this. Call this attorney. You know what I mean? Call this support group. Blah, 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 blah. And men look for solutions. We can't live in delusion, bro. That's female stuff. They can live delusional because they got the delusional circle of co-signing sisterhood. Again, as they get older, that decreases. But so I don't really respect your typical American woman's loneliness. She's more, now that's the most lonely and depressed chick is the one that's sexually promiscuous, which is the majority of American women, my guess. But the happiest chicks are those who are in relationships with a man and have family and children and stuff. She, she might have problems in the family, but that's where she's going to be her happiest. But when she out here in the streets getting ran through, prostitutes ain't happy, man. And they're not fulfilled. They might be happy that, I can't say they don't have no happiness, because again, what do they want? Male attention and money, and they want to be a hoe. But that comes at a cost because she selling her soul, essentially, selling her integrity. And her conscience is telling her that that's not right. Those are those who have a conscience. And everybody knows it's not right, which is why when you ask her what her body count is, crickets. Because she know it ain't right. And no matter how they promote female whoredom in America, everybody know it ain't right for a woman to be having a high body count, which is why she always lie about it. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be shamed. That even here in America these days, women still feel ashamed of their body counts. I think that's a good thing. No matter how they try to promote that body count don't matter, single motherhood don't matter, fat don't matter. You know what I mean? You still should be shamed because of your body count, because it's a metric that men look at. And she know that it's wrong to have a high body count. But they try to sear their conscience, burn their conscience, and not to, they really have polluted women in this country, man. So, but the female loneliness, they got delusional friends, female friends, they got simps, they got gay male friends. Everybody's co-signing all their BS. They got to think about. This is why I can't really sympathize with it. Female loneliness, unless you're talking about the actual decent sisters who actually trying to do the right thing and made a proclamation that they want to be righteous. Other than those chicks, majority, bro, who cares if she lonely? This is, you shot yourself in the foot. You jumped off of a building without a parachute. You went out into the 100-degree Phoenix sun without no suntan lotion. You jumped into a river and you can't swim. It's self-inflicted gunshot wounds. How can I have sympathy? You won the lottery and blew your lottery winnings in 1 year. How can I have sympathy for that? You're a trust fund baby and was given millions of dollars and you blew through the money. How can I have sympathy? There's people out here trying to make a daily wage and get their daily bread, and I'm supposed to feel sympathy for somebody that blew through their millions of dollars because they're a trust fund spoiled baby. Dude is born with a silver spoon in their mouth. No, I don't feel sympathy. Yeah, I empathize it because I understand it. You need to know the other counterpart, but dude, now that I do know you, why would I sympathize with you? You had it really, really easy. Male loneliness is real. Female loneliness is self-inflicted gunshot wounds because of rebellious nature, not wanting to be up under a man. Her loneliness primarily is because she chooses, you watch some of these women being interviewed who are street prostitutes, living on the streets and stuff. Dude, these women a lot of times have, that's what I'm saying. This is a perfect example. I think I'm going to close on this. Perfect example. You got women out here who are in the life of prostitution on the streets, literally have their family members tell them, you can come home or you can go. Why are you out here? You don't need to be out here. They got a safety net to go back to, bro. Even now. And some of them came from decent families. Nothing happened to them. This is a self-inflicted gunshot wound that can be fixed. And she can always say, well, I'm a little woman and I made a wrong decision. I'm just a little girl. I'm just a little woman. She can play that angle. So even when she messes up, she can still play the, I'm just a woman angle. So how can I feel sympathy for somebody? Even right now, I'm looking at this cat lady chick. I'm like, man, you look 40-something-year-old cat lady chick. Even now, it's some simple idiot that'll wife you up. But yet you choose to be some Karen. This is your choice, bro. A lot of times with men, it ain't no choice. Everything is a choice, right? You chose to marry this woman, but you didn't choose for her to divorce you, right? But yes, you did choose the chick. You make one choice thinking that, okay, we'll stay together. But she left you, took your house and car, and you didn't really foresee that, right? So I guess everything is a choice. We understand that. Even the righteous chick, she's choosing to be a decent, righteous chick. So because of that choice, she's going to suffer, right? But everything is a choice and has results. We understand that. But this is a choice this chick got to be out here in the streets. And what I'm saying is, it's destroying her life, and she's choosing to stay in it, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying she made a bad decision and now it's coming back to bite. Like a guy, he marries a chick, believes the sales pitch that she actually loves him. And then 7.5 years later, she's taking the kids and the car and half his pension. You know what I'm saying? He just got okey doked. He got tricked or whatever. But this chick is living a purposeful life of whoredom. It's a difference, bro. It's a difference between making a choice, making a mistake, and making a purposeful life of whoredom. A purposeful I am going to go down the dark path. You imagine two different paths. You had a crossroad. Over to the right, you have a you had a crossroads, right? And imagine you walking down a path and you got two directions you can go. One over to the right is the birds chirping in the background right now, actually. The birds chirping in the background. You see a river, water over there. You're like, oh, wow. Apple tree over there. It's like, la, 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 la. Like the Smurfs, you know what I mean? You know, birds dancing and stuff, you know what I mean? Squirrels, you know what I mean? You know, chilling and dancing, you know, and singing, you know, and all that. And it's a river. You walk, oh, man, this is a nice road. I'm gonna go chill. I'm gonna go. So that's that way to the right. And over to the left, you have a dark path with dark trees. It's like, ooh, and, you know, owls hooting. Woo, woo, woo. You see, you hear some growling in the background, some wolves or something, and you can't see them, but you hear them, but you kind of see the silhouette. You know what I mean? But let me go down this path. So which path do you think the women gonna take, bro? A lot of women is gonna take the path to the left, bro. Why? In other words, that the path of whoredom, the path of degeneracy, the path of, you know what I mean, the in and out of jail, gay, homo, thug dude, as opposed to dealing with a decent, regular dude. The path of just being flown out and having all these the streets, basically. The streets. She gonna choose, majority of women left to their own devices are gonna choose the streets, is what I'm saying. So the path over to the right, that represents the house. The path to the left represent the streets. Majority of women left to their own devices are gonna choose the streets. And the chick, I was listening, there's multiple chicks I listened to. It was being interviewed by the chick, she a prostitute on the streets. Why she having it? Why she out here? Blah, blah, blah. She liked the freedom, is what she said. She liked the freedom. I don't want to be, if I had to go back to my parents' house, I had to do what they tell me to do. This and so again, she want to be out in the streets. This is a self-inflicted gunshot wound, bro. What was that? Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. That Super Mario video. That was funny. If y'all haven't seen that, man, that's funny. But these are, you know. So I don't feel empathy for a woman who up here purposefully destroying herself. You have the solution. You know, it's like, man, you have the solution, but yet you rather shoot yourself in the foot, literally. I mean, you know, figuratively. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for that. No, I don't. I don't really respect a lot of female loneliness in this case. Male loneliness is a real thing. You know, men have been broken down by the society, broken down by broken relationships. You know, money's been broken down by these hoes. And it's just, instead of making jokes about it, you should talk about it, you know, and address it. Why is this happening? But if they address it, they would have to start talking about marriage laws, how divorce destroys men and all that kind of stuff. And they're not going to do that because it's going to make the females feel irritated. So it's always like a war here in America with regards to the males and the females, man. But that's just my thoughts on it, man. Male loneliness versus female loneliness. I look at it from all angles. I respect the decent females, but the females who are purposefully out here choosing the path of the streets, how can I care anything about their loneliness and their issues? These, especially in a society where this could be fixed. It can be fixed by one of your multiple simps and tricks who are begging you to take you off the streets and wife you up, clean the debris up out of your hair and wife you. You could be fixed. But again, remember we talking about the hamster wheel. The streets keep calling and she don't respect those dudes. She only respect a man who don't elevate her. That's who she respect. But even that can change. Even when you look at it, even when you look at a prostitute and a pimp, I ain't co-signing it. I'm just looking at the dynamic. The prostitute respects the pimp enough to give her his money that he get from the other dude, the simp. One dude she respect, the other dude she disrespect. So, you know, man, my whole point is like, and the majority of women in America, from my experience, I've been coast to coast. I've been down in Florida, Arizona. Never went really north more than Michigan. Went to San Francisco. I think that's, nah, I don't know if that's really. Well, my point is I've been coast to coast. So my point is, these women choose a lifestyle that's gonna make them depressed and lonely. And so because of that, I don't have respect for that. If you lonely and all that, you chose this. A lot of men don't have really choice like that. You know, a lot of men don't even have choice. If they with a woman, it's like, dang, they don't feel like they have. Men, it's like in America, men, so far as relationships, his choice is like become one of the top 20%. And most men ain't gonna do that. Even if he hit the gym, he's super swole. Well, hey, he's 5'7". So you're a short, swole dude. So it's a certain level you can max out to, is what I'm saying. And it's crazy, man, because a lot of men have to be the super ultra dude here in America, ultra competitive. Whereas in another country, you ain't gotta be. The dudes in the other countries ain't no super swole. They don't gotta make 8 figures and 6 figures. A regular Filipino dude making like $2,500 a year, bro. $4,000 a year, bro. But he might have 3 or 4 Filipino chicks, man. And he an average 5'6", 7" dude, bro. Skinny. But he got multiple chicks. Same thing with Colombia, man. I'm down in Colombia, and I'm like one of the taller dudes, bro. Like, dude, you don't have to be super ultra dude, bro. But here in America, because it's competitive and because the women are so delusional, and they choose a super ultra top 20%. And remember this, they even leave basketball players and athletes who are the top like 1%. They still leave them. So it's not a you problem, bro. This is a cultural problem, bro. They leave athletes, bro, who are millionaires, who are rich, who are famous, who are tall and skinny and in shape. They leave these dudes. They disrespect these dudes. Who is me and you here, bro? So female loneliness, man, that's their problem, bro. Other than the sisters that's righteous, I got respect for that, but I don't respect no chick who choose the path of darkness, choose the streets, and now she's lonely. Where the good men at? They in your DMs, they in your past, and they still even here now. You don't want one man. And even if you do, well, if she even get that, I can't say that. I stand corrected. She might want one man, but that one man had multiple chicks. And the reason probably she even like him is because he pre-selected, and he has multiple chicks. So she's in this state of delusion, but she believes that she should be the only chick in his life. You're absolutely delusional. Men who can do. Men who can have multiple chicks will get in line and just be one of them. But again, that doesn't support her delusional. It doesn't support her pride, which America teaches her to be proud. And you're the prize, you're a 10. And so she's lonely and miserable. See, women don't be lonely because they don't have access to men. They might be lonely because of 2 reasons. They don't have access to the one man that they want in a monogamous relationship. They might be depressed about that. See, they from the perspective of like a spoiled brat, I can't get that one toy that I want. It's a microphone drop. Their loneliness and depression comes. That's why you see them crying on they can't get the one dude that they want to be in a monogamous relationship. See, they don't be crying because they ain't got no man. They be crying and all that stuff because they ain't got the one man that they want. Like a little kid crying because they got all these other toys, but we want the one toy. Whereas you have a man over here who ain't got no toys to play with. His depression and loneliness comes from not having no toys to play with. Whereas the woman over here, her depression and loneliness come from like a spoiled brat having all these other toys, but wanting the one toy. Gimme. That's what it kind of is, man. So she depressed because she got cheated on, or she got the dude hit her and quit it, or ghosted her. Well, he already done hit it. The point is that she valued the dude enough to be inside of her. That's the dude that she want. But his other dudes, see, this is what I'm saying about the culture of America cultivates women to be street women and floating here and floating there. This dude got money, so she'll be with him, even though she despises it. It just promote whoredom, bro. She despises this dude, but she like his money. Other dude, she adores this dude, but he ain't got no money. Yes, I mean, but so it allows her to sway back and forth like the leaves in a tree, bro. You see what I mean? And you can't build no society like that. You can't build no marriage like this. You can't build family like this. You can't build no community and households and freaking, you can't have a country like this, bro. It's pathetic. It's whoredom don't allow you to sustain nothing, So that's just something I was thinking. Yeah, but her depression comes from not having, she's chasing the one dude and the dude's not reciprocating. That's where her primary depression comes from. Number two, she's lonely and depressed because of the whoredom that she's doing in general. Turning tricks, doing something strange for a little bit of change, selling her sexuality to the highest bidder. You know what I mean? That right there is depressing. You listen to strippers talk, man. Strippers, that's one thing I do like, listening to hoes talk, real hoes who know that they hoes, because you see the authenticity of it. All this, like with the typical American woman, she is a hoe, but she don't realize what she is. Or because whoredom is so thick here in America and normalized, you know what I mean? She's like, well, she'll try to criticize the other woman for being a stripper or OF model. But you got 10 bodies. You got 20 bodies. You a whore too. Y'all both whore. Except the stripper, she knows she is. The OF model, they arguing about levels of whoredom. But y'all all hoes. One prostitute is criticizing the other one because she doing the physical act of sex. Then the other one is criticizing the other one because she don't realize that she a hoe. Then the other one is like saying, well, I'm better than y'all because I just dance in front of them. I never had sex with any of my clients. But the reality is y'all all selling sex. Y'all all hoes. And so being a prostitute breeds, you're going to be depressed and down when all your girlfriends is not around and your simps is not around. You see what I mean? That's the majority of women that's prostitutes is depressed, man. So that's just something I was thinking about, man. Loneliness in men versus loneliness in women. Loneliness in women, I don't really respect it for the most part because it's self-inflicted. You know what I mean? Except for a small example of decent chicks who actually trying to live right. Other than that, I don't respect it because you got options. You got super amount of options. And they be knowing they be having options. Street women know that they got options to, even a street walking chick. It'll be some Trick and John simp dude who will literally take her like a Pretty Woman movie. Literally take her off the streets and literally make her a wife. Literally. She don't want it. She want the streets. She want the dark path with the owls and the wolves growling and the dark trees. She want the dark path, bro. How can I respect? you come from the perspective of abundance of choice, and you're lonely and depressed. Ooh, why that? How can I empathize? How can I sympathize with that? You got the choice not to destroy your life, bro. Out of all these choices, but you choose the streets, and so now you're lonely and depressed because you having street woman problems. You having prostitute problems. The stripper, you having stripper problems. You having streetwalker problems. Anxiety and depression. And I ain't sitting here trying to laugh about this stuff. I'm just trying to put it in perspective. A man might have loneliness and depression and anxiety or whatever, feeling down or whatever you want to call it, because he had to live with real life, man. You know what I mean? You got to deal with the facts, the truth. And a lot of times the truth is depressing. And life gets you down sometimes. And you got to look in the mirror as a man. You can't be delusional. Oh, I'm a 10. Nah, man, you got to rate yourself for what you are, man. A man don't have the opportunity of being delusional. You know, we got to look at it in the mirror and say, hey, I'm fat. I need to hit the gym more. Hey, I'm broke. I need to prove my money. Hey, I'm, this height. I got to accept myself for what I am. Hey, I'm in a market where it's really messed up for men to get married in America. Maybe I need to get out of this stupid country. Men got to look at it and find solutions. I think that would help men with being the loneliness and depression and stuff is to find solutions out of it, and find the puzzle pieces to help yourself and find support groups. True. However, that's the man's, I could be wrong. Other people have different perspectives and stuff, but I think that's men's path to more of a holistic life and getting out of loneliness and stuff like that. I mean, really, sometimes you're just gonna be lonely. I don't know. It is what it is. But it's a difference between a culture of loneliness, a culture of men being isolated, right? Forced because of lack of options, or the options are pathetically bad. You know what I mean? So, I look at both sides of the coin. I see the male's perspective, I see the woman's perspective. The only perspective from the woman I can really respect is women who are trying to do the right thing and find it hard to do so in this culture if they genuinely trying to do the right thing. I do not respect a street woman who purposefully chooses a path of the streets. Anyways, brothers, like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel using the CashApp in the description, appreciate it. Peace.